In today's climate, nothing will make you a more accurate or confident shooter than Crimson Trace laser sighting systems. Get the immediate, decisive advantage of the world's only grip-integrated laser sights today. Shoot better, stay safer. Crimson Trace.
I'm a gun owner.
Your views, advice, and questions are the driving force of Gun Talk.
You know, I don't think that guns are scary things.
Visit us online at www.guntalk.com. Call Tom now at 866-TALK-GUN, 866-825-5486. Let us know what you think about the gun-related issues of the day. Now, back to Gun Talk.
All right, I'll tell you what, we were having such a ball here. Even during the breaks, we're talking gun rights and what's going on, backstories of, we were just having the conversation, where are our billionaires, the Steve Ballmers, the Bill Gates, all of that. We're working on it. We're working on it. We got Gene Hoffman has just joined us. Frank Fiamingo, we roped him back in, found him wandering the halls aimlessly out there.
That happens a lot.
Happens. We'll put a little note on. He says, my name's Frank. If you find me, please send me home. Well, Frank, bring us up to speed. Obviously, we had the great news from Shanine Allen's case where she is now going into the pretrial intervention program, right?
Absolutely. The really good news about this whole situation is that it affects a great number of people, actually, because in clarifying that the Graves Act does not have to be imposed upon people who have good, clean records, who have not really committed any additional crime other than they happen to have wandered into New Jersey with a valid permit from another state, but they are not, it's not.
As I say, they didn't have the right piece of paper.
They didn't have the right piece of paper.
That's all it is.
And as you know, I always say they happen to come into the state where rights go to die. So
you got a bunch of people who have tripped over that wire.
That is correct. There's some recent cases. There's some cases that have, gone on for a while, and there's some new cases that happened since Shanine. But the one that comes to my mind right away is that the fellow that was kidnapped for his bachelor party, and he had his firearm on him. He's in Pennsylvania. He's a Pennsylvania carry permit holder.
No.
He got kidnapped by his buddies. They took him to Atlantic City. He had his firearm on him. So he realized he couldn't walk around with it, took it off, put it in his room. Then he, on his way back, he went to go get it, and whatever, somehow or another, he got tagged.
Oh, man.
And he took a deal. He took 3. He is going to be a convicted felon. He took 3 years, and they gave him probation.
So now, are you going to be able to go back to people who have been convicted, or maybe even people who are in jail?
It actually looks like we will. Yes.
Really?
Yes. It looks like we'll be able to do that because with this clarification, we're looking into whether or not it's going to be retroactive, but it certainly is going to affect a lot of the ongoing cases.
Right.
But I spoke to Evan Knappen about it, and he seems to feel that we have a good shot at going looking at these.
That's a huge change there.
Well, it is, and here's the nuance that a lot of people in New Jersey haven't quite figured out yet, and a lot of my brothers and sisters in the gun rights movement. This really is the first time that we're getting that kind of recognition that, guess what? A valid carry permit holder is not a criminal. Mm-hmm. Because since it is so unusual for someone in New Jersey to ever get a carry permit, it's like an anathema. You're some kind of different animal.
What I'm hearing is a rusty squeaking sound of a door being cracked open slightly.
I believe that that's the case, and we've got some pretty smart lawyers. We're talking to a bunch of them. We're going to see if we can't get some what's the word when coming together of the minds and work on this and see if we can't take that little crack and take a crowbar to it and bust it the heck open.
Gina, you're over here. You're plotting. I can hear your wheels grinding all the way over here. What's your take on this?
Well, look, I'm hoping that we can bring the California cases and bring them back to New Jersey. I mean, we've already seen an unfortunate set of cases here on the East Coast, but again, California, our court said, look, there's no possible way that the Second Amendment doesn't mean that you can't carry a firearm in public. Right. And, said that open carry
surprises a lot of people.
Completely. But look, people forget what the Ninth Circuit is. Yes, it's California, but it's also Oregon and Alaska and Nevada, and so you have a different makeup of judges. And honestly, the Ninth Circuit is relatively civil rights respecting, and it causes these kind of weird things where they sit there looking at it and they talk about choice, or they talk about speech, and they say, well, if we rule against the Second Amendment this way, these are the same sorts of things that
what are you going to do for the First and the Fourth and all the rest of it?
That's right. So, look, it's wonderful to see New Jersey actually be in a place where, if you weren't doing anything wrong, you might not go to jail for it. And, as a traveler who travels to New Jersey, and the one or two places that I don't carry are New Jersey and New York, right?
Sure.
Those steps are the right direction. And, people all across the board, even the folks who are not necessarily pro-civil rights on this, understand that the courts are going to tire of it.
Yes.
And, the fact that we are seeing D.C., California, others, I expect we'll be able to get a national answer to the carry issue.
Wow. All right, hold on. We're going to have to take a quick break here. Frank, thank you so much for being here. Tell them how to get more info.
My pleasure. Anybody who's interested in finding out more about what's ongoing with Shanine and with the Shanine's Law, please go to nj2as.com. Just visit. We have pages up there that you can click on her picture. I'm going to leave that up for some time to come, and you can catch up on the entire
Sounds great.
Persecution.
All right, thanks. Great job, man.
Thanks.
All right, we'll be right back with more Gun Talk.
The Ruger American Rifle is a 100% American-made firearm that offers outstanding performance at a great price. Available in standard size and compact models, it features power bedding integral bedding blocks, a Ruger Marksman adjustable trigger, a flush-fit 4-round rotary magazine, and a 3-lug bolt with 70-degree throw. Compact models feature a shorter length of pull and a shorter barrel for a reduction in overall length of more than 5 inches. The Ruger American Rifle, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
One machine, one operator. Each machine is run by a single pair of hands. Hands that spend all day, every day, learning the machine inside and out. We don't believe in quotas. The point is crafting faultless ammunition, no matter how long that takes. It's not quick or easy. Being the best never is. Black Hills Ammunition. It started with our hands.
What do I have? He said, you got a green-winged teal and a pintail. I said, now we get somewhere. I could take you to the very spot I was standing and said, look, they were right there. I was about 11 years old. I've been chasing them ever since. Where there's design, there is a designer. We were designed to kill ducks. Mossberg, built rugged, proudly American, just like us.
Looking for shooting instruction but don't know where to go? Well, we have it, and you can access hours of training and safety videos, which you can watch on your home computer. On GunTalkTV.com, we have top competitive shooters, the best in self-defense trainers, and folks who have hunted all over the world, helping you learn which gun to buy, how to use it, how to store it safely, and everything else you need to be a safe and competent shooter. We also have gun makers showing off their newest rifles, shotguns, and handguns. Doesn't matter if you're a veteran shooter or a complete beginner, you'll find what you need at GunTalkTV.com. You can check it out for free, and you can get full access for only $5.95 a month. That gives you unlimited access to hundreds of videos, and we're adding more all the time. Run the videos over and over to make sure you understand what's being said. Skip around. You're in control. Get smarter, shoot better. Visit GunTalkTV.com.
A great trigger can make you a better shooter. For over 60 years, Timney triggers have been trusted by hunters and shooters everywhere. Timney triggers are proudly made in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. Installation is easy. Give yourself the Timney Trigger advantage. To see more and order online, go to timneytriggers.com. That's TIMNEY triggers.com.
In the war on terror, fighting crime in the streets, in competition and homes around the world, one name in firearms stands out: Sig Sauer. Our pistols and rifles are renowned for their unfailing performance. This same commitment to excellence can be found in our line of SigTac accessories and the training offered by the Sig Sauer Academy. For unmatched quality, reliability, and innovation when it counts, choose Sig Sauer. Visit SigSauer.com today.
Tom is broadcasting live from the Gun Rights Policy Conference in Chicago, Illinois. Now, once again, Tom Gresham.
Now, not to say that everybody we've had on so far isn't just great and wonderful and everything, but honestly, we do, in fact, we have the A-team here at this point. Gene Hoffman is still with us because he just won't leave. And Alan Gottlieb has joined us. Thanks, Alan. What an incredible conference you guys have put on here. And from the standpoint of everybody else, it went smoothly and there were no problems. And it's like the duck, right? He looks calm on top, but below the water, he's just paddling along like crazy. You guys are putting this thing together.
I think you described it pretty accurately, Tom. I mean, none of us expected to have close to around 2,000 flights canceled now in and out of Chicago to get speakers here and attendees in the audience. We still did very, very well. We would have had an all-time record if Chicago airports didn't go down, so to speak.
Right.
But our attendance was really, really, really high and really, really great. We did lose a couple of key speakers we would have liked to have had that couldn't get in. Boy, we improvised perfectly, and if you were just an attendee, you would have known there was a hitch going on at all. But the staff here is, I think, a bit weathered.
We're talking to a guy last night. He flew, got to Detroit, took a train, took a car, got in here like at 1 o'clock in the morning. It really was trains, planes, and automobiles. Yeah,
trains, planes, and automobiles. I think he left from LaGuardia after a million flights were canceled, got to Detroit, took a train from Detroit, and then rented a car from the train station to get here. We had people diverted all over the country and then had to rehook up because some of them were in flight and couldn't land.
Sure.
And so they landed, in Indianapolis or St. Louis, planes had to refuel, then they couldn't get anywhere, had to rent cars. I mean, it was absolutely amazing.
But for those who got here, it was great. I mean, it really, I will tell you, I get a lot out of this every year because you think you know what other people are doing, don't you, Gene? And then you hear and you go, wow, I didn't know you guys were doing that.
Just the conversation between the various state groups is amazing here.
Yes.
And it ends up being till 2 a.m, but it's exactly where you kind of build those bonds and you figure out that they've got something interesting that relates to something else we're doing. And, we've cooked up some fun things. We'll cause some trouble out there.
He says with an evil grin.
Evil.
That's right. Well, and I think it was you who said, you may not exactly pick up what they're doing over there and use it exactly that way, right?
That's right. But the thing is you can riff off of it. Either what they're doing or how they're playing the politics in a local situation to, undermine a municipal gun law or, cause various bad ideas to not get adopted. Those are the kinds of things that you can really strategize and figure out how to, make it all work in New Jersey or in California.
I'll tell you what is an eye-opener for a lot of people when they get here. And they watch you guys because you two are absolutely the masters at it. And that is the multi-step, multi-level action plan where we're doing this. It's basically watch my left hand so you don't see what my right hand is doing. And you guys do that all the time.
Yeah, one of the problems with that, we do that, of course, because you don't want your opponents to know what you're doing.
Though I got to tell you, we tell them and they still screw it up.
But I know. But part of that is when you don't telegraph to your opponents what you're doing, but that means your own people don't know what you're doing either sometimes. And we have a constituency, like it or not, that's mistrusting, and rightly so,
Sure.
And so the problem is some of them they get blindsided as well and don't always appreciate it. So here at the Gun Rights Policy Conference, you can sort of explain why you're doing it, how you're doing it, and why we maybe can't tell you about it until after we've done it.
I have had people forever say, well, why isn't the Second Amendment Foundation doing X? Mm-hmm. And my response is always, what makes you think they aren't?
Yes.
Just because they haven't told you? I mean, and Gene, you've been doing that for years.
Oh, absolutely. Look, it is not exactly in our interest to explain exactly to LCAV or the artist formerly known as LCAV exactly how we're going to go about dismantling all these laws. And look, they lose track. They miss many cases that we bring and have no idea that we're about to prove a very important point that we're then going to go use in a very different context to go attack one of their favorite things.
Yeah, I mean, it's really amazing how many times they don't really respond to some of our legal actions because they don't even realize they're happening. Sometimes we're very quiet on them. I mean, the good one is the big victory we had in Pennsylvania this week on the misdemeanor, so to speak, restoring people's rights for nonviolent misdemeanors.
We haven't even talked about that. I'm going to let you talk about that in just a sec.
But like that one, we never publicized that we filed it. So that flew under the radar for a year, and the other side wasn't even involved in the case because they didn't know what was happening in federal court. It was just great.
All right, what just happened? What is that case?
Well, it's a case in Pennsylvania where a number of years ago, a man made a mistake, you could say. He's married, owned a business for one of his employees who was 17 and a half at the time he had an affair with. Mm-hmm. And, despite the fact...
A consensual affair.
A consensual affair, above the legal age of consent. But they got him for corrupting the morals of a minor. It was a misdemeanor.
Right.
I mean, and he pled no contest because he wanted to put his family back together again.
Right. Which he did, and the family is solid, and the wife forgave him.
And children.
The children know about everybody. Everybody's good.
Right. Okay, but they could have been punishable by 2 years in prison. The state of Pennsylvania restored his gun rights.
Okay.
But the federal government won't restore his gun rights because they treated that misdemeanor as a felony because it could have been punishable by 2 years.
That's where you came up with this term, misdefelony.
Misdefelony, right. And so what happened is we sued in federal court, and the judge ruled the federal government can't take his Second Amendment rights away unless you can prove him or somebody else is truly a threat, which opens up the door in litigation now for thousands of cases across the country.
That's huge. The idea that you have to show that somebody is potentially a threat before you can rob them of their gun rights, that's almost a sea change, is it not?
Look, this is the first time we've actually had a federal court admit that there are certain prohibiting categories that can't possibly be constitutional.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so now in this case it was a misdemeanor, but let's be fair about it. There were a number of felony categories. Martha Stewart, should she not be allowed to own a gun?
Right. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Right. So this now opens up a significant line of new litigation for gun rights, especially since you can't get federal restoration as well because you can't apply for restoration because Senator Schumer, decided no funds could be used to do the investigation.
He defunded it, and no one will stand up and say, I think felons should have guns.
Right.
It's become untouchable. It's a third rail right now.
Right. But in a court of law, when somebody's rights are taken away from them, I mean, somebody who goes for a joyride in a car when they're 16 years old and now they're 50 and have been a great citizen for all these years, lo and behold, can't have a gun to defend their family.
Right.
In the home.
In the home.
It just occurs to me, what this is you're actually going after parts of Gun Control Act of 1968.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Holy cow.
And, of course, we have another suit doing that as well where, under 68 GCA, you can't buy a handgun in a state that you're not a resident.
Yeah, which, if it ever made sense, and it didn't, certainly doesn't make sense now because everybody goes to the same NICS check, no matter where you are.
That's right.
So we have a suit there with a Texas dealer who wanted to sell a gun to two residents from restrictive Washington, D.C., who under D.C.'s bad gun laws are allowed to buy that gun out of state and bring it in as long as they register it, but under federal law they can't buy the gun. And, of course, we all know how many gun stores there are in Washington, D.C.
Right. So their deal is I want to buy a gun in Texas. I want to take it back home. It's the exact same background check with the FBI, no matter where. The FBI doesn't really know or care where you are buying the gun.
That's right.
They're just running the background check. And all they're doing is punching into a database, and in literally seconds, it comes back. That's pretty cool.
So that's another part of the 68 GCA that we're challenging as well. We're chipping away. I mean, when you go back now and we're able to go back and attack laws from 1968, it means we're making progress.
Yeah, because a lot of people always thought that GCA 68 was in stone. It was just there, and it was the stuff that came after you might be able to go. That's huge. Next, you're going to go back and get the Sullivan Act. 1911, New York.
Believe me, I'd like to, but our problem, again, this is where elections have consequences, is that, again, and like mentioned at the conference, 9 of 13 of the appeals court districts in the United States are basically controlled by the enemy. Obama's appointed enough judges to tip the scales. Unfortunately, the jurisdiction for New York, where the Sullivan Law is, et cetera, is in the enemy territory in the courts. And if we allow Obama 2 more years of making nominations of extreme anti-gun, people for the bench, he's going to close off the other 4 judicial avenues we have for appeals to create the conflicts we need to ever get cases to the Supreme Court.
I had this conversation with Alan Gore. I threw out this thought. I said, when Heller was passed or decided, people said, well, this is going to be guaranteed employment for gun rights attorneys. And I said, how long is that going to go on? He says, until the Supreme Court changes. It was just like that, boom. Because at that point, we're 5-4 right now. If it flips the other way,
we're done.
Game over.
That's right.
Yeah, but
I mean, it just is.
Yeah, I'm worried about game over sooner because, again, if Obama gets more of these anti-gun judges on the appeals court level,
true.
Usually the appeals court level is your last line of appeal because very few cases get to be heard by the Supreme Court.
True.
So, I mean, the appeals courts is where most litigation ends up stopping.
And to put the fine point on that, so people understand what we're talking about the election that comes up in 35 days or whatever it is. This very election right now, because the Senate simply must change hands.
That's right.
Control of the Senate's got to change.
Look, we're getting to a place where the Ninth Circuit might be the most friendly gun circuit on the planet.
Dogs and cats living together.
It's a frightening place.
Upside down.
Look, if we rewind and we talk about Parker becomes Heller in the D.C. Circuit, I don't know that we could win that case in the D.C. Circuit now.
Wow.
I would agree.
Because the new judges
for
that have come from the Obama administration had put in there, and we're not talking about a half a dozen or a dozen.
No.
We're talking about a lot of judges. How long are these people in for?
Life.
For life.
And in a lot of
it's a life sentence. They're not sentenced to it. We're sentenced
to it. That's right.
Life.
And in a lot of these circuits, quite frankly, we're outnumbered 2-1 of very anti-gun judges against other judges.
All right, question people have asked me. Okay, so if the Republicans get control of the Senate, will they block these nominations?
Well, my feeling, honestly, is that Obama is still going to appoint people that aren't friends of ours.
Right.
But some of these people who are so extreme are not going to get through. And it's the ones that are so extreme are the biggest problems for us.
Sure.
Because they're the activists on the other side.
Might be able to dial it back a bit.
Tone it down would be the way to put it.
The other thing, too, is, the way it works usually is when Obama makes a nomination, it usually gets approved or recommended by the senators sitting in the home states. Mm-hmm. Now, in an appeals court, you have multiple states because Obama has multiple places to choose from. But basically, if in the states the Republicans control things, they can cut some deals like, okay, Obama, you can have these two judges, but you got to nominate this one who's our friend as well. And so there's a give and take a bit. So we will
you have to have some. You can't do bargaining until you have leverage.
That's correct.
Exactly.
Hold on, guys. We'll take a quick break here. Yeah, and then we'll talk about this. Imagine this: Supreme Court Justice Eric Holder. Oh, everybody just rolled their eyes and groaned. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk.
One of Talker Magazine's 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America. You're listening to Gun Talk, heard every week at this time on great radio stations across America. Stay tuned. Gun Talk is coming right back. Covering all aspects of gun ownership every week on this fine radio station. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
All right, it is gun rights time. And I know if you want to talk about guns and loads and reloading and all of that, we'll do that another time. It's always a balance as which one we're going to be doing, but it's gun rights right now because we're at the Gun Rights Policy Conference in Chicago, actually just winding down. It has been a phenomenal event. I cannot encourage you strongly enough to attend. If you have an interest, if you want to be a gun rights activist, you can learn how to be not only learn how to be one, you can learn how to be an effective one, which is a completely different thing, is it not, guys?
Quite. When we were off, we were talking about some of the, shall we say, ineffective gun rights
That's
activists.
Right. And some of them that are actually effective on the other side, even though they're trying to be on our side.
Indeed, we were speculating they might be paid by the other side, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, like when we have people or activists who show up at a school with a bulletproof vest, and a helmet, so to speak, and an AR-15, and stand out on the sidewalk with a sign saying it's my right to be here and you can't take me away.
And he's doing that to promote gun rights.
To promote gun rights.
Yeah, no.
And you scare and intimidate everybody there, and they think you're, a little nutty to begin with, and the police have to come and at least even though it's his right to do so, and it's legal on the sidewalk there,
right.
Under his state law, the problem is it's not the face we want to put forward.
Well, and that's it. Image is a lot of this. By the way, we're talking with Gene Hoffman from CalGuns Foundation. Is the best identifier for you because you're from a lot of different things.
Yeah, well, I think CalGuns Foundation is the right answer. Right?
Oh, okay. And obviously, Alan Gottlieb from the Second Amendment Foundation, the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms, the Gun Rights Policy Conference, this was the 29th year.
It's older than some of my children. But we should mention the fact that Gene as well serves on the staff board of trustees as well.
Yes.
So Gene is a very important member in our organization too.
Yes, and there's an awful lot of work back and forth SAF being Second Amendment Foundation, gets involved in California issues. And you guys are always, and it takes that, does it not? You can't do it all by yourself.
Absolutely. Look, we have to partner, and we're seeing really interesting things pop up through this. You had Frank on here earlier. We worked very hard to try to get Shanine here, and what's California got to do that? Well, the infrastructure's there. We know how to do it. My ED was back. We wanted that to be there. And again, back to the appearances. These are the types of gun owners that are now common, and we want people to understand that those people are the people we're fighting for their rights.
Buckeye Firearms goes out to Colorado, works on the recall out there. That's
exactly.
Florida Carry showed up in Colorado to help out as well. Yeah,
where we are now. And I think it's a really good place to be, is that an attack on gun rights anywhere is an attack on gun rights everywhere.
That's right.
And we simply when we hear the call for help, we all got to show up.
That's right. And look, the places we're going to have these problems are New Jersey, Massachusetts, California.
Sure.
We have a problem in Washington. SAF is responding to that. It's going to be a problem we're going to see in other places, and that's something we probably should talk about.
Yeah, well, SAF isn't responding yet. We'll respond on the legal side of it after the election is over, hopefully.
Yes.
But the Citizens Committee, being the C4 political group, is involved in the ballot initiative measures.
Right. And that's, as I say, coming up in 35
days or
something, whatever it is. I mean, these elections... Midterm elections are really easy to ignore for a lot of people, although I don't know how you can with all the ads running right now. Of course, you got to remember, I'm in Louisiana, which is one of these key states for the senatorial races.
That's right.
Oh, my heavens. But one of the things that we ought to talk about, I'd like to get us on this for just a second, is there has been a big change in the gun rights and the attack on gun rights world in the last year or so with the arrival of big money. The billionaires coming in on the anti-gun side. And I know people say, well, okay, but there's only a few of them. But they can, in their back pocket and their pocket change, outspend us by a factor of 10 or 100. And talk about what the importance of the spin, of what you can do when you have that kind of money.
Well, you buy the best political consultants in the world. You get the best polling done for you. You flood the airwaves. I mean, we're at the point now where, in Washington, I'm trying to buy time for, and I have to buy it on a week-by-week basis because funds come in, funds go out, hand to mouth. They've got millions of dollars in the bank account, and they go out and they buy, weeks in advance, and they buy a spot running on a station every 15 minutes, and I go to buy my time. I'm sorry, our inventory is sold out.
That's the other thing. This is not an elastic deal. There are only so many minutes available.
That's right. Well, look, where people pay attention now is a hard answer to go to. It's already hard enough to even reach these communities, period, to get people to understand what these issues are. And look, who's against background checks?
Right.
It's a scary problem.
Yeah, it's one of those deals. Give them the cliff notes, if you would, Alan, on what the quote-unquote background check in Washington State actually entails.
Well, the Bad Initiative 594, what it entails, let's just say right now that we were sitting in Seattle. Okay, and you have a permit to carry concealed.
Right.
So do I, and so does Gene. Right. I hand you my gun because I didn't go through a licensed dealer to run a background check on you. I just committed a gross felony. And then I hand the gun to Gene because he's the second time I've done it. I've now committed a felony, not a gross misdemeanor. That's an example. Another example is that we have in Washington State what they call a used property law. When people sell used property, without there's certain exemptions like clothing doesn't count.
Right.
But when somebody takes a used property to sell it, they have to hold it for 30 days, and basically to make sure that it isn't stolen or whatever it might be. So this initiative, sort of, you're a private party and you take your used gun to a gun dealer to sell it to somebody else. We might have the situation where you have a 30-day waiting period. But in the law itself, it doubled the waiting period, extended the waiting period. If you didn't have a concealed carry permit to allow you to walk out with the gun immediately, they doubled it from 5 days to 10 days. It's in it. Like California, Gene, where you live, you have a temporary transfer that you can transfer a gun to somebody for 30 days without going through the background check. You can loan them to go hunting, to go shooting, whatever it might be.
Yeah, all the day-to-day use of a gun is not so crazy in California.
Right, believe it or not.
Right.
This law in Washington wouldn't allow me to transfer to anybody for a minute to use it. As an example. I mean, Massachusetts is a really bad state. It's 7 days. This state, Bloomberg's in Washington State with this initiative is giving you not 1 minute.
And to that point, this is a Bloomberg bill. This is a Bloomberg initiative from beginning to end.
Yeah, definitely. And he's put over $1 million into it, and I believe his people wrote it to start with.
Right.
In California, as an example, you have a cap fee, $30 for your fee for the background check.
Yep.
This initiative has no cap fee, so it's like the sky's the limit of what somebody might charge you. Also in California, a dealer, because of the state law the way it's written, the dealer has to transfer the gun.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Right. In this case, you could go to the dealer and he says, I'm not going to do that.
And he doesn't have to do it, so you can't transfer or sell it at all.
You can't sell it, you can't give it. And if you gave or loaned a gun to a buddy, he goes out and shoots that, and you commit a crime with that, all right? Or let's just do it this way. If, say, you went through the background check, you went to the store, you get to pay the money. When he brings you back the gun the next day,
you have to go through the background check.
You got to do another background check.
Pay the fee, whatever it might be, all over again. This is obviously done to discourage anybody from using a gun, getting a gun, or going through the hassles of even having a gun around. And so this is really done to poison the base, to poison everything, and make gun ownership unacceptable. And that's what's behind Bloomberg's bill.
And then you add in the ATF. Now you've got all these extra transfers. The FFL, he's smart to not want to do these extra transfers because it's another opportunity for him to make a mistake on the paperwork.
Yeah, no kidding.
Also, how does he know if the gun's been stolen or not?
Yeah, he may say, I'm not touching that.
In California, under the DRO system,
we actually check. Right.
The dealer gets...
You guys keep talking. I got to go to a break here. So we'll be right back with more gun talk from the Gun Rights Policy Conference.
Springfield Armory presents the Gear Up promotion. Until October 31st, customers who purchase any new Springfield Armory pistol can sign up to receive 3 additional magazines and a free double bag pouch by visiting gearup.springfield-armory.com. That's a value of up to $135. XDs, XDMs, the XDS, and all 1911s. To learn about all the Springfield Armory firearms, go to springfield-armory.com.
Every day, law enforcement agencies worldwide put their trust in the HST bullet from Federal Premium Ammunition. Built to protect our streets and defend our freedoms, HST and its iconic mushroom provide reliable and consistent performance. That same technology is now available for your personal defense needs when protecting your home and defending your family. Personal Defense HST. Proven, trusted performance. Federal Premium Ammunition. Every shot counts.
Want your next gun purchase to be fast and hassle-free? Well, at galleryofguns.com, you can search through thousands of models from our huge firearms inventory. Find a great offer from a local dealer that includes all fees and taxes. And there's no need to arrange a transfer. Gallery of Guns takes a small deposit on your credit card, and your gun will be at your chosen dealer in as little as 48 hours. Plus, your gun will be covered by our guaranteed lifetime replacement warranty. Galleryofguns.com. Search, find, buy. It really is just that easy.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the VADA Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit shopguntalk.com. That's shopguntalk.com. Look, this really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At shopguntalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. shopguntalk.com.
Tired of paying for one concealed carry holster after another that's flimsy, hard to hide, or just plain uncomfortable? Alien Gear holsters feature a super stealthy and ultra comfortable design. Our professional quality holsters are backed by an ironclad triple guarantee, including a free 30-day test drive, free shell trades for life, and a forever warranty. Starting at just $29.88, you won't find a better quality or better priced holster on the planet. Any planet. Go to aliengearholsters.com to get yours now.
You're listening to Gun Talk on location at the 29th Annual GRPC in Chicago, Illinois. Now, with all the latest on this year's conference, once again, here's Tom Gresham.
All right, back with you here. We got Alan Gottlieb, Gene Hoffman from CalGuns Foundation. Gene, what is CalGuns Foundation?
We are a legal action 501c3 that defends California gun owners who are usually unlawfully charged with violating California's Byzantine gun laws. And then we're also out striking down California laws that are unconstitutional. Recently, we had a federal court rule that the 10-day waiting period was unconstitutional for people who already own guns.
Well, when you think about it, let's see, if I already own a gun, why is it I need a 10-day cooling off period?
Well, look, we've done a good job of getting more people carry licenses, and they're literally people who are carrying a gun at the gun store who can't pick up the new gun because if they were mad now, they'd do what?
So you got rid of that.
That's right.
Outstanding. I mean, you said something here I just wanted to touch on. One of the coolest things you get to do is when somebody's been charged with a crime, illegally charged with a crime, and you can get them out of that.
That first panic phone call, when they are completely freaked out that they are going to jail.
Right.
And these are law-abiding people, usually coming back from the range.
Never had an encounter with the criminal justice system at all.
Right. And look, normally what happened in California before we were there, these guys start staring down a $20,000 legal bill.
Yeah.
And their life is turned up. They, their wives or their husbands are going crazy. Getting them calmed down, counsel, and then explaining to other counsel. Look, we've had these hilarious moments where you've got a prosecutor who's saying, well, it's illegal in California to own a 30-round mag. And we're like, here on page 73 of the California Department of Justice is that it's not. So could you drop the charges now?
So they don't know. The prosecutors don't know the law.
The cops don't know the law. The prosecutors don't know the law. It's utterly Byzantine. I mean, it's the problem.
Well, the good example in California as well is, you have how they define assault rifle or assault weapon. Lots of semi-automatic rifles aren't really assault weapons under the definition of the law.
Right.
But law enforcement doesn't know it. They look at it, and they don't know the difference.
They just see semi-auto.
They confiscate your gun. They arrest you. You have to post bail.
Yep.
They keep your gun.
Oh, in California, bail for an assault weapons charge is generally $60,000 to $100,000.
Whoa.
So you're out $6,000 to $10,000 right there.
Right. That you're not getting that money
back.
Getting that money back. And then a lot of these people then, they lose their jobs.
That's right.
I mean, you've been charged with something and, you're not working here anymore.
Right.
Now they couldn't pay their legal bill if they wanted to. Mm-hmm. And it's like without Gene in California and CalGuns, a good example would be a lot of these people end up having to cop a plea or pleading no contest. They end up with a felony. Now they can't own any guns for the rest of their life.
But now, with us involved, we get these things called findings of factual innocence. So we have a judge literally go that there was no reason to arrest you in the first place, destroy the arrest record. Right?
So it just goes up. It's poof. It's gone.
And then we sometimes go back and push back and go, look, you're going to have to pay us this bail back because this guy's out to bail.
Oh.
And, and then we're educating the police officers, we're educating the DAs. It got to the point where one of our lawyers, when he'd walk into court in Sonoma County, they'd be like, oh, it's the gun guy. Hey, tell us what these laws are. I mean, literally, prosecutors and defense both.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
One of these cases, Gene, correct me if I'm wrong, because we partnered with you from the Second Foundation and CalGuns. We had one where the judge initially wouldn't go our way on it, but said, because he felt, well, this is an isolated case. This doesn't happen very often. Prove to me it's not isolated, and I might agree with you. And bingo, the same guy gets popped again. A couple weeks later, we go back to the judge, a different gun. See, Your Honor, this is not an isolated case.
Yeah, it was really amazing. Like, you couldn't have possibly scripted it better. Back to, we were talking about this earlier, sometimes luck matters.
Yeah.
We're literally dealing with a federal judge who was saying that, well, it's not likely to happen again, even though we've shown him 7 or 8 different times where people were arrested for carrying an AR-15, right?
So you get the same guy in 2 weeks.
Same guy.
Yeah. You go, okay. Yeah, well, maybe it does happen more often than you're thinking here.
Look, we have affidavits from sheriffs that say that they don't know what the heck a muzzle brake or a flash hider is. Which one's which? One's illegal,
it's a
one's
folding
legal.
Thing that goes up.
Yeah, exactly.
And those who know what I'm talking about get it, and the others, you'll just have to look it up. Just do a Google up, the folding thing that goes up.
Go to YouTube and thing that goes up.
Thing that goes up. So you'll understand. It's a gun thing. That's not that other thing that you're thinking of right now. So just bear with us. All right, hold on here, guys. We'll take another quick break here. We're talking with Alan Gottlieb, Gene Hoffman, CalGuns Foundation website.
CalGunsFoundation.org.
CalGunsFoundation.org. And we are Gun Talk, guntalk.com. Be right back from the Gun Rights Policy Conference.
Gun Talk stands for safety, personal responsibility, and common courtesy. To be a part of the show, call 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Gun Talk will be right back.
chaos ensued. During the break here, Masada Yu walks in. We got Dave Workman over in the corner. He's on deck. We got a lot of things going on. Talking with Gene Hoffman, Alan Gottlieb. Great event. I mean, Gene, I can't believe these guys pulled it off with everything that was going on.
Look, it's crazy out there. There was an image floating around on Twitter where it basically showed every single plane in the airspace around Illinois outside of Illinois.
It's just gone.
Yeah,
just not there.
I'm watching my flight get later and later tonight. I may be staying an extra day in Chicago.
I think Alan was just going around and asking the guest here in the hotel, hey, you know anything about guns? Would you like to be a speaker?
Would you like to be on the federal panel?
Actually, we did really well. I mean, we virtually didn't miss a beat, in fairness. I mean, if you're an attendee, you would not have known the original agenda was changed if you didn't see the original agenda. Minus the fact we'd lost a couple key people. Unfortunately, Dave Coppell couldn't get in. I think he was on two different planes. Flights got canceled on him.
He got pulled off a plane.
I think he got pulled off of an airplane. But by and large, we'll do like John Fund was supposed to speak on Saturday. And flight was canceled. Supposed to come in on Sunday. Then I'm coming anyway. Just change me to Sunday. Okay, thanks. His flight gets canceled, and he had to move him back again on the agenda to a fourth revision. But people made it. The length. They went
a Herculean effort to get here.
Yeah, planes, trains, and automobiles.
Which shows the dedication and intensity level of our people.
Passion. We talked about it early. If you don't have the passion, you shouldn't be doing this.
No.
Because, as Doug Ritter was saying, he says, because trust me, you don't do this for the money.
Not at all.
I mean, you do it because you got the passion. And I'll tell you the other thing is, when you get here, one of the big values of this that nobody really talks about is, buddy, it's lonely out there.
Yes.
And you come here and you go, wow. I'm not the only one doing this. I'm not the only one feeling this. There are other people. It's your support group.
Well, and look, there's the societal issue here, which, hides under the covers. We were talking about this off the break. The billionaires, it's okay for them to be anti-gun.
Yeah.
Because at the local country club, that's okay.
Sure.
I talked to VCs in Sand Hill. This is the epitome of new technology, right?
Yeah.
Venture capitalists. They're afraid to admit that they like guns.
They like them. They just because they're afraid what's going to happen to them from a business standpoint.
Let me tell you, in the state, in Washington State now with the Initiative 594,
right.
All the billionaires supporting that. There are a lot of particularly from the tech world, that people who make a lot of money, who have money, but they go to those cocktail parties. They get to buy the same IPOs the other guys do, who are giving money to the 594. And it's sort of they want to be ostracized. They want to be taken out of the group. They either make their living or their investment money that way.
You won't get invited to the good parties.
So what happens is I get a call from them saying, hey, I'm really with you, but I can't have my name on the disclosure list that I gave you any money. Sorry.
So they can't give you any money because that would show up.
Right. And so what happens is, if you're a friend of Michael Bloomberg or Warren Buffett, who's on Bloomberg's board now for every town,
right.
All their investments and their IPOs and the inside deals and getting in on the company on the seed stock.
You get cut out.
You get cut out. And so that's the impact that these billionaires have that we don't even see.
Well, but if they get on our list, they'll get invited to our barbecue. So it's
we'll have a free book for them.
That's right, exactly right. We got that. All right. So the info CalGunsFoundation.org. There you go. And obviously for Alan, it's Second Amendment Foundation, SAF.org, and the Citizens Committee.
Yep. CCRKBAR.
There you go.
Correct.
That will work. And where are we next year for GRPC?
Phoenix. Now we go to friendlier country. I get yelled at for bringing it to places like Chicago, but I want to expand the playing field and take rights back that we've lost.
There you go.
Now we're going to a friendlier territory next year, so the people that didn't want to come here have no excuse not to come to Phoenix.
And everybody can open carry.
Well, and look, we're here because we won carry here.
Yeah.
Right?
That's it.
Illinois actually carry today.
This was a victory lap, baby.
Well, actually, Chicago won more than that. We won letting you have a gun in your home first. Then we won carry.
That's
so
right.
We're on a roll, and it's expanding the playing field, not shrinking it.
And it's not going away. When we come back, we're going to be talking about gun rights, new books, gun training, self-defense, concealed carry, Masada Yu, Dave Workman, and no telling who else is going to show up. People just walk in left and right around here.
No black helicopters here, just the facts about gun rights and gun ownership. This is Gun Talk.